Now, another area that we can make potential changes in is in our connections with other people. And there's a lot of research shows that making connections, and particularly the quality of our connections, can protect us in times of stress. Turns out that it doesn't matter how many people we're connected to, that doesn't matter so very much. It's the quality of our connections with others. And there's all kinds of research over showing in long-term studies that have followed people throughout their lives that the quality of our relationships is one of the most important long-term contributors to our happiness and to our well-being. Now, part of the quality of our connection is touch. Believe it or not, we don't think about this normally, right? But maybe you're aware now, since you're spending a lot of time behind a computer screen, that you're not really able to touch as many people as you normally would be. So this is what touch looked like in pre-corona times. And this is what touch looks like in corona times, right? We're touching our phones. Now, that makes a difference. Why is that? Because things like hugging somebody are good for us. Hugging releases oxytocin, that's the so-called love hormone, and that promotes bonding and trust. There's a lot of research that shows that if you hold somebody's hand, it deactivates stress-related parts of our brain when we anticipate a stressful situation. Now, fascinatingly, for our times, even imagining holding somebody's hand deactivates stress and stress-related areas of the brain. So even if the person is not physically present, the feeling of others hugging us or connecting with us or touching somebody on a computer screen or saying, hey, I wish I could be there and give you a hug right now. Those kinds of statements and those kinds of acts may actually reduce our stress levels. And for the people whom you are in touch with and with whom you don't have to practice social distance, maybe you want to consider, giving one of those people a hug. I know I'm sounding like an American guy from the 60s, but seriously, this really, really makes a difference. And another thing that makes a difference in these times especially is sharing with other people what you're feeling. Share with other people what you're feeling, because, that's, if that enables us to get the kind of empathic response that we need from other people. As human beings, we need other people's empathy. And these are times when it's not a good idea to just wait for somebody to notice how bad you're feeling. Take a risk, let somebody know. And I think you'll be surprised to see, how you end up feeling. Now, on the other hand, you may feel like, how much of this closeness can I take? I'm sitting there at home with the same people, I'm going nuts. And in this cartoon, you have the doctor who says, hey, good news, you don't have the coronavirus. And the guy says, yeah, but can you still quarantine me from my kids? And for those of us who are feeling a little irritated with our partners, with our children, with our parents, one of the things to remember is the following, that it's always a good idea to try to balance out closeness and distance. We also need autonomy. And for those of you who are younger people who are for the first time living outside of your house and enjoying your autonomy, and now maybe you're back home with your parents, that relationship can be complicated. And the relationships we have with the people who are closest to us can also be complicated ones. So it just means trying to find some kind of balance and to accept the fact for ourselves and for other people that we sometimes need closeness and we sometimes need distance, and just to try to, when there's a mismatch between what our needs are and the needs of the people around us, trying to be as accepting of that as possible. And last, finding meaning. We're almost finished. As Viktor Frankl said, finding meaning can be one of the most helpful things to remember. As he said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. And I can tell you in my own life, and I think it's true for a lot of people, that the road we take in life is not always a straight one. And that sometimes the unexpected things push us out of our comfort zone, but they also present opportunities to find resources in ourselves that we didn't know that we had. So You need to be able to use your imagination, symbolized by this picture on the left, to try to think of new possibilities for finding meaning. Be thankful for what you have and try to learn life lessons. And learning these life lessons don't have to be big things, they can be small things. And part of those life lessons may be that if I can do a small thing to help somebody else, I can feel better myself. We're almost done. One piece of finding meaning is healing our planet, right? So what we may be involved here is like a dry run for what we're going to do about climate change. So if there is a quote silver lining in the situation, it may be that it's made us as a, as humanity more aware of the need to focus on our planet and saving our planet. If you're looking to, find your own strengths or develop strengths to help you through this difficult time, you're welcome to download these 2 questionnaires I developed, these strengths finding questionnaires. These are available for free on our website, and along with a short guide that I created using your strengths in challenging times. This is all for free. So when you're finished here, if you have some time, feel free to go to the website, download the questionnaires, fill them out about yourself, and discover what some of the strengths are that you have. I'd like to end here with the jellyfish. The jellyfish has been around for at least 500 million years, maybe as much as 700 million years. It is one of the very first, species on our planet that is still around today. So the jellyfish must know something about surviving and thriving in difficult times. So I would just like to end on this note. This too shall pass. Focus on the present moment and keep swimming. So thank you very much, and thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, David. The first question is by Amal, and Amal asks, how can we deal with being single and living alone during these times when feelings of fear and loneliness hit hard?
That is really, really tough. Yeah, I mean, dealing with loneliness, first of all, is always difficult. And I can imagine that you want to make some contact with somebody, and if you want to have a close relationship with somebody. Maybe the answer I'm going to give to you here is maybe not going to be the optimal answer for you, but these are not optimal times. So what I would say is there are many ways to counteract your loneliness. And what I would say is try to reach out to other people in your friendship group or in interest groups that you might have, going onto websites of people with common interests. But try to go into it without the expectation for now that, I'm going to find my life partner now, or I'm going to find the person with whom I'm going to have that amazing click. Because I can tell you, at least in my own experience, you can't really control when you're going to find that person, right? That's something that's, not really under our control, unless, well, you're one of these people who goes to one of these dating websites and obsessively, speed dates with 1,000 people. It's going to be really hard. So what I would say is try to lower your expectations, try to have some confidence that will come, and try to just be open in your day-to-day encounters with people to how you feel. And when you feel you have a click with somebody, dare a little bit to reach out and say, hey, would you like to have a virtual cup of coffee with me? Or, hey, there's something I like, some music, can I share it with you? That would be my advice.
Then there is another question by Astrid. It's on a more positive note. Astrid wonders, how do I manage the fun distractions at home? All the fun things I do at home are more fun than work.
Oh, God. All right. Well, yeah, that's an interesting problem. I'll tell you what I do, and it depends on what your living space is like. One of the things I found years and years ago was that when it comes to doing work, it's very useful to have a separate time and space to do that work. So if you're the kind of person who does all of your schoolwork, while you're lying on top of your bed, and that's also where you're having your fun, relaxing time, that's going to present a problem, especially in times like this. So what I would say is, and this is what I do, is find a separate workspace, even if it's a separate, even if you're in a small apartment, even if it's a separate corner of your room, and try to set up a particular time of the day where you're going to do that work. So because the cues around us are very useful in terms of switching us from play mode to work mode. So that would be one piece of advice that I can give you. The other thing I would like to say very quickly about it is build in time for play. Okay, because if you think I've got to get all this work done and I can't get it all done, it's too much, then maybe you just shift over to play mode all the time. So say, okay, no, these are my times for work, but I'm going to build in specific times of play and build in more time for play than you normally would because your body needs it right now. Okay.
Well, in a way, that was part of the answer to the next question.
Yeah.
Someone who asks, has increasing difficulties to let go of work at night and sleep. I enjoy my work and have a good work balance overall, yet sleeping in the same room that I work in all day makes it difficult for my mind to relax and to stop working. How can I increase the cut between work and leisure when the space I'm living in does not allow spatially?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted a little bit by a notification.
Well, so the person is working and sleeping in the same space, one space, and has a difficulty maintaining the work life balance.
Being able to sleep
Yeah,
also. Okay, well, again, if it's possible to separate that, and maybe it's not in your circumstances, I don't know. But I would say this, that one of the things that can help the most is having a kind of, regular time where you're going to turn off your screens. And that may be really difficult if what you're feeling the need for is also connection. But, one of the things we know about screens is that they keep the brain awake. So what I would say is, if you have something, like a tablet that's, that's set up for reading, like with a reading light, like a Kindle, like I have, or if you have books at home or whatever. These are very old-fashioned kinds of things to do. Or turn off your phone a little earlier and spend an hour watching something fun on Netflix or whatever, and then turn it off. It's very, very hard if, your screens are part of how you soothe yourself and help yourself to go to sleep. But then if you can do that and introduce some new rituals to help yourself go to sleep, for example, making some tea for yourself, or if you have the opportunity to be outdoors, just, going out into the balcony or whatever it is, and, taking in some air, doing some breathing, looking at the stars, so trying to find some new rituals to help cue your mind and to soothe your body so that you can kind of ease your way into sleep.
Thanks.
Sure.
Here is one by Nikolai. When you're ruminating and want to seek help, often a feeling of guilt is involved, the actual tip. So reaching out, telling a friend, seems like a bridge too far in some experience. Are there some cognitive tricks or strategies to become more likely to do this risk-taking behavior?
Yeah, I can really understand that. Well, I think, for you or for other people who are feeling this way, maybe it's good to have a little conversation about the side of yourself that's laying this big guilt trip on you. Like, I know this is going to sound a little, again, like New Age 60s or something, but, take a chair in your room and put the guilty side of yourself on the chair and have a conversation with the side and find out what that side is really feeling so guilty about. What is that? And then you take the side of, the healthy side of yourself, what I call the healthy adult side of you, and speak back to that side. And what I would say is, in terms of how do you speak back to that side, that the way that you can do that also is to embody some self-compassion. I have the right to share my feelings just like everybody else does. I don't have to be so strong. You may be telling me that I have to be so strong, but I have the same human needs as everybody does. Or I should be able to solve my problems myself. Well, that's just a message that I internalized maybe from a long time ago from my upbringing, who knows? But you know what? I know that I need to take good care of myself. So it's what's called self-compassion, having some self-compassion. So try that exercise at home. It's one exercise that you can use that sometimes can be helpful for basically creating some distance from that guilty side and then speaking back to it from your own healthy side with some compassion for yourself.
Okay. I think we've run quite a bit over time. Let's see. There's one more question that continues on the loneliness matter.
Yeah.
And I think that we will do that as the last question. So you've talked a little bit about dealing with loneliness.
Yeah.
And then this person says, so when I'm lonely during quarantine, how do I deal to learn to appreciate it during quarantine and not try to change that by connecting with others?
Mhm.
So he wants to appreciate it more. And what are the strategies to learn how to appreciate it?
Yeah, well, it's a beautiful question. I mean, I think that that really has to do with, you know, the encounter that we have with ourselves, right? I mean, you know, if you have a lonely side, you know, we may think that loneliness is something that just has to do with our external circumstances, but actually, loneliness, you know, can be a part of ourselves, and that part of ourselves is a part of ourselves, usually from the past, usually from something that we experienced growing up, where we felt not seen or not heard, or we felt deprived of attention or love or interest or whatever all those other human needs are. And then often what happens is as we get older, we tend to reject that side of ourselves. And why is that? Because we feel ashamed of having a lonely side, or, you know, we may feel, you know, embarrassed. Why do other people not feel this way? Well, actually, many people feel this way. So what I would say is try to, if you can, get to know this side of yourself a little bit and embrace it a little bit, that it represents a side of you that missed something when you were growing up. So this can be a chance for you to, you know, give yourself something that you may have missed. And that can be hard because somehow inside we may feel that we don't deserve it. And what I am saying is you do deserve it. The idea that you don't deserve it is just an old feeling from the past. That's all that that is. You know, that's a feeling that often goes along with when people have a lonely side. So try to, again, use your healthy side, your healthy adult side, and speak to your lonely child, and, you know, and give your lonely child a kind of virtual hug, you know. So, you know, try to change your relationship if you can with that side of yourself.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to finish the webinar right now. I really enjoyed it, and actually, because you can't see the Q&A, but in the Q&A there's also a lot of appreciation and many thanks for this great webinar.
Really nice.
So,
I'm really glad to hear it.
I would like to thank everybody, and this is the end. I hope you will take a lot of the advice and look at the videos and maybe look at the presentation one more time, and then be safe, be healthy.
Okay, thanks
Bye.
everybody. Bye. Good luck.